A number of Democratic lawmakers who have published anti-Medicare for all columns are now confessing that they worked with lobbyists in the healthcare industry to write those pieces. So this is actually a great story by the Washington Post. I highly suggest you read the full story, but I'll give you some of those details right now. Montana State Representative Kathy Kelker, who's a Democrat, Senator Jen Gross, also a Democrat, acknowledged in interviews that editorials they published separately about the single-payer health proposal included language provided by John MacDonald, a lobbyist and consultant in the state. Now, he's a lobbyist with the healthcare industry. Gross said MacDonald contacted her on behalf of the Partnership for America's Healthcare Future, a multi-million-dollar industry group founded in 2018 and funded by hospitals, private insurers, drug companies, and other private healthcare firms. An aide to Ohio State Senator Steve Huffman confirmed in a brief interview that the lawmakers' op-ed criticizing Medicare for all was written with the help of Kathleen DeLand, an Ohio-based lobbyist. Again, I mean, these are all people who want to do away with any proposal for a single-payer healthcare system because they're lobbyists for the healthcare system that we have now. It's very profitable and lucrative for people who work in that industry.
Okay, so I want to give you more context as well. So then they take these op-eds that they wrote themselves and planted with corrupt officials. And yes, they're absolutely positively corrupt. So they then take those op-eds and then email to the rest of the reporters nationwide. And in those emails, the Washington Post explains, they say the partnership linked to op-eds written by these state lawmakers, and at one point citing them as evidence that, quote, voices throughout the nation oppose Medicare for all. Those voices were literally them. They wrote the op-eds, they planted it with corrupt Democratic and Republican officials, state lawmakers, and then they turn around and say, see, the voices are against it. I hear the voices. They also said that, hey, look, it's no surprise that elected officials on both sides of the aisle and many other voices throughout the nation are expressing serious concerns. In other words, hey, Democrats also said it. Did we give them money? Yeah, we did, right? Did we buy them? Of course we did, right? Then did we make them, did we just hand them an op-ed? Sometimes they edit it, sometimes they just give it to you. And they go, oh yeah, me like, okay, no problem. And then they do it, and then they go, see, the Democrats hated Medicare for all too. The whole thing is a trick.
Yes.
The whole thing is propaganda. I mean, and one of the lawmakers here is so brazen. So this is one of the Democrats, Gross, and she wrote, that's her name, not
Jen Gross. Yeah.
Yes. If the angle is that a consultant wrote half of the op-ed that I had published in the Billings Gazette in July, so be it. I'm not embarrassed by that at all.
Jesus Christ.
I think that statement is even more embarrassing.
She should be voted out of office. This is just brazen corruption, right? And working with members of this industry. Like think about what this really means, right? It goes beyond the corruption. What does this type of corruption lead to? It leads to Americans literally dying as a result of our broken healthcare system. And so I do want to give examples of how these industry lobbyists would edit the columns before they were published. So MacDonald, who again is one of these lobbyists, removed 3 paragraphs from a draft of Kelker's op-ed that pointed out that the United States, quote, clearly spends significantly more on healthcare per capita than other developed nations. He also deleted a table from the lawmakers' original draft showing that the United States has higher healthcare spending per capita than France, Germany, Norway, and Switzerland.
I love what they wrote in the email back to the legislator. They said, they crossed that section out and they said, quote, the client had trepidations that it might also come across to the less discerning reader that because foreign single payer markets cost patients less, they are superior. Yeah, it would come across that way because it does cost less and they are superior. Because the lawmaker in the beginning was like, look, I hate Medicare for all, but on the other hand, to be fair, single payer does cost a lot less than all other developed countries. And the lobbyists are like, no, we don't write that, you idiot. We cross that stuff out, we bury it, because for the less discerning reader, no, for all readers, it would actually show that we're lying. So we crossed it out for you, knucklehead. Now submit the right op-ed with exactly our messaging. You understand? And here's your campaign contribution. Yes, sir, absolutely, sir, right away, sir. Gee, I wonder what's wrong with politics. Okay, I'm not done yet. So in terms of what other edits they made to these op-eds, it is amazing. So there's the one we just discussed. And then they put in words like, progressives are calling for an upheaval of the Affordable Care Act. Now these are the same lobbyists that were against the Affordable Care Act. But now they are using Democrats to pretend that they care about protecting the Affordable Care Act. That's Obamacare. They're like, oh my God. These dastardly progressives like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren would be against the Affordable Care Act. Write that in, write that in. Do we? Oh no, I would love to destroy it. But no, not yet, not yet. We're gonna do that later, okay? But right now we have to make sure that people do not actually get health care without us like making tremendous profit off of it and not really giving it to them. And then one more. They crossed out some other things that they had written that had just like a smidge of fairness in it, and it's amazing. The lobbyists cross them out, and these legislators, representatives, and go, oh yes sir, yes, of course, cross out my words are no good, sir. The check cleared, right? You write your words in, sir, of course, sir, right? So what do they write in? They say extreme ends of the political spectrum propose vastly opposing solutions for strengthening healthcare, as with most issues, what most Montanans, wrote the lobbyist, and Americans would prefer lies somewhere in the middle. So they're pretending to be moderates, and they're saying, look, the Affordable Care Act, the people who are against it are extremists. They are against it. And they're unbelievable. And they're saying, but you know what? The people that actually want to give you health care, they're also extremists. And so make sure that the extremists don't allow your family to live. If you don't have insurance, we want you to die. And in fact, even if you have insurance, we want to bankrupt you and get all the premiums and deductibles and co-pays. But they're the extremists. Now write it. I sent you the check, God damn it, write it. And the Democrats and Republicans across the country are like, absolutely, sir, absolutely. Here you go, sir. So look, Republicans are spending $6 million in ads right now against Medicare for All. Where are they putting them? Iowa, New Hampshire, all the primary states. This group is spending at least $1 million in ads. That's the insurance industry, the hospitals, etc. And then you have all of the corporate Democrats piling on, and you have all of the Republican Party piling on, all to make sure you do not get health care. And then, in fact, I got to give Washington Post one more piece of credit, because credit where credit is due. They said, they are trying to paint it as too extreme, and that the moderate position is to make sure you don't do Medicare for all. But they said, quote, but the ideas are also very popular among many Americans. I was like, I read it and I was like, oh my God, my heart skipped. A mainstream media outlet actually admitted Medicare for all is really popular. They spent all of that money and did all of that propaganda with all their corrupt politicians. And at the end of the day, the American people are still like, nah, no, I still like it, because I'd like to get health care, and I hate co-pays, premiums, and deductibles. Sorry. So understand, when you see those messages, the politicians delivering them are often bought and paid for by the insurance companies ripping you off. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.